Hey residents of MeepleTown, today we're looking at Res Arcana by Tom Lehmann, who is the king of racing card games, but instead of exploring galaxies, we're going to be taking on the role of mages, we're going to be laying out artifacts and controlling dragons and exploring places of power to be the first one to 10 points. So let's get to the table and look at Res Arcana.
All right, so here is the layout for Res Arcana. Now in this game, as Dean mentioned, we are going to be racing to 10 points. And the way we get points are several different ways. Up here we have places of power that we can pay resources to get these places of power. And some of the places of power just give you 3 points or however many points it may be. But most of them have bonuses that if you're getting different types of essence on them, like this one right here, if you're able to get the black essence, then you're going to score a victory point per black essence. So these are really big ways to score points in the game. You're also going to score points over here when you're building these monuments. And anytime you see this little stamp, this is how you're going to, those are actually victory points. And then finally, there are some victory points on the actual cards that you may have in your deck. It's possible that you won't, but there definitely are. So what we're going to do to start the game off is I am the first player. That means that Dean gets to pick one of these actions to do first. He doesn't get to do the action first, but he gets to pick before I do. So every round, as he's picking, every round we're going to be able to have a new action that we're going to do. And we can't save the same one from the last round, so we have to change those.
Right.
So Deanie, what are you going to pick?
So the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tile so that I'm just going to get some resources right off the bat. Or a resource right off the bat.
Yeah, I think I'm going to probably do the same. I'm going to go ahead and grab this.
Seems to be one of the, at least in our game, seems to be one of the common moves right off the bat because you want to get resources.
You got to get those resources going, and at the beginning of the game, you don't have a whole lot.
Right.
We also start with a mage, and one thing I'm going to make mention as well is that in the base rules, you dish out 8 cards, so there's only 8 artifacts or 8 cards in our decks. You can't add any more to them. You can get monuments, but you can't add any more cards to this. But there's a variant that allows you to draft the cards, and it's by far Dean and I's. We like that so much better. But for the purposes of this video and getting through it quick, we went ahead and drafted off camera. So, and we also got our mages, which you get 2 mages and you pick from one of those. And this is the one that I picked, and of course that's the one that Dean picked. So the first thing we do in the very first round is we grab 3 cards. We don't draft, we grab 3 cards. Every subsequent round, we're only going to get 1 card. So, all right, so let's see what old Johnny's going to do here. I am going to... We're also going to start with one of each resource. Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, this little symbol right here means how many the resources that we get to grab at the beginning of our turn. I almost got so excited about playing cards that I forgot to do that. All right, so I am going to... The slash here means I can choose between death and life, but I'm choosing a death resource here. So for my first action, what I'm going to do is I am going to play this Chalice of Fire. That way I can start getting, as you can see here, 2 red resources at the beginning of my next turn. Of course, it's going to cost me 1 gold and 1 fire. So that's my first turn.
All right, for my first turn, I am also going to play a card that costs me 1 gold and 1 fire. This is the Dancing Sword, which is also going to give me some resources. And it's also, in this card, it's going to help me in case I'm attacked by a dragon. It's going to allow me to discard a red resource to ignore the effects of the attack and to gain a death token.
In this game, it ain't know how to train a dragon. They aren't a friendly. They attack, and it's definitely got a little take that element because of the dragons.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely does. It's not like, you know, in your face take that, but it is definitely prevalent in this game.
Okay, I'm going to tap my duelist, which means I can give up a death, which is why I got that, in order to put a gold on this card. Now I can't use this essence right here, but at the beginning of next turn I can choose to take that off if I want to.
Right. Okay, and for my action, what I'm going to do is discard a card, and when you discard a card, you can take 2 of any resources or 1 gold. And in this case, I'm going to take a red and a blue, which they all have names to them, but we're gonna
yes,
we're not going to call them by the names.
They're like Elam and stuff like that. I think it's cool. It's just let's that's
the thinkiest part of the game is trying to figure out what the resources are.
Yeah, red and blue for me, buddy.
Yes.
Red and blue for me. All right, are you done with your turn?
I'm done.
Okay, I think I'm actually going to tap this card, get rid of a red essence in order to revitalize this one.
All right. All right, so for my action, I'm going to play the Hypnotic Basin, which is going to cost me 2 blue, a red, and a black. And this will give me 2 blue resources in future turns. It's also, if I tap this later on, I can gain blue equal to the amount of red that a rival has. He just got rid of his red, so that's probably not gonna help me this round, but in the future, hopefully.
Probably not. All right, so I'm gonna tap this once again since I was able to resurrect it with this Chalice of Fire, and I'm gonna use my death in order to get yet another gold on my mage.
That's great. All right, so I don't have any other actions that I can take this round, so what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and pass, which means I'm gonna take my tile and slide that right in here. I'll Terra Mystica, I guess, is kind of how that plays out, where you put your tile in, grab a new one, but I'm also going to get the first player tile.
And I didn't mention this. This is also another way to score a victory point, is that whoever has this in their possession has 1 victory point, the first player token.
Right. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take the research card, which lets me, if I tap this, I can pay a resource to draw a card, which will help me because I'm all out of cards right now. I'm only going to draw 1 in between rounds.
Yes. All right. So I am done as well, which this is part of the race game, making those decisions. Do I want to do another action here or grab that so that I can get exactly what I want? Because sometimes there's specific ones you really need.
Right.
But hey, Dean beat me to it. So I'm going to get rid of this death one right here in order to pick up... I'm going to pick I think I'm just going to get this. It's not really what I wanted to do. But
and sometimes you want to kind of delay that because, especially towards the beginning of the game when you really want to get those resource tiles, if they're both out, like in a 2-player game, if they're both out, you can't get them until the other person turns theirs in. So
that's right. So let's draw up as the last part of our turn. All right. So at the end of your turn, you're going to draw 1 card. And then to start off the next turn, we're going to grab our resources. So I'm going to take the gold off there and then grab mine. So 1 fire here, 2 fires here. And then here I'm going to grab a blue. Okay. So Dean actually starts off. So let's play 1 more round, then we'll give our final thoughts and ratings.
All right, so now that John has some of those red tokens over there, I'm actually going to tap
that's a problem.
The Hypnotic Basin. Yeah, it's helpful for me because knowing that John's going to get a lot of red resources, this is really going to help me out. So in tapping that, I'm going to gain blue tokens equal to his red. He has 3, so I'm going to gain 3 blue, which is really, really helpful. Because these the places of power cards tiles that are up there cost a lot of resources, so you really need to have a lot to get what you want.
Definitely do. I'm going to put a dragon egg out on the board, which is going to cost me a gold, which gold is very valuable in this game. But it is a victory point as well.
Right. Okay, let's see. I'm going to, I think in this case, discard a blue token that I just got to tap this card, and that's going to allow me to draw another card out of my deck. That's my turn.
Yeah, I really messed this up a little bit, so... actually, no, I haven't. I'm good. Okay, good. All right, so what I'm going to do now is, this dragon egg can be destroyed, which when you only have 8 cards, I'm destroying a victory point to do this.
Right.
And you only have 8 cards, so I can't get this back. I'm going to destroy this to place a dragon, which it has the dragon symbol up here, at 4 less cost than what it says. So it says I need 4 death and a life. I can only pay a life now because it's 4 less in order to get this dragon out on the board. This card is destroyed.
Okay, and what I'm going to do is pay the cost to play a mermaid out there, which is going to be 2 green and 2 blue. And one of the things that I was kind of thinking about when I was drafting my cards is getting a lot of these creature cards, which has the green creature symbol in the top right corner. This card lets me tap the card. It gives me resources, but it also allows me to tap the card and get rid of a blue, green, or gold resource to put essence spent on a specific card. So what I'm kind of thinking about in my mind is how can I get this Sacred Grove card, because it allows you to tap the tile, once you buy this, to tap this, tap a creature card, and put a green resource on this, and that's going to be victory points at the end of the game. With the mermaid, I'm allowed to take resources from my pile and also put those on the tile. So in my mind, I'm thinking, how can I get all the resources that I need to get the Sacred Grove before the other player does. In this
and
case,
that's a
John.
really great strategy, and I'm going to try to take away as many resources from him as possible.
Obviously, we wouldn't be talking about this, but you can look around and kind of get an idea of what the other players are doing.
So I'm going to tap this card, which I'm attacking him with my dragon, which means all rivals have to get rid of 2 life essences. Now, Dean only has 1 life essence, so he gets rid of that, and then he has to choose a different essence in order to...
That's right. However, I do have my fancy dancing sword, and so...
What does your dancing sword do?
My dancing sword lets me react to that. So what I have to do is pay... I don't have to tap that, but I pay a red resource, and I could ignore that and then gain a death, a black resource, on this card that I'll be able to get next time.
I know. It looks like you somehow stacked your deck to perfectly play against mine with the red. I don't know what's happening here. I don't know, Dean. I am going to... Okay. Man, I would like to... I was going to resurrect this and then attack him again, but my attacking him is not really that helpful because of that dancing sword, unless he really wants the red and I can stop him from getting those red resources. Wow, okay. I am going to... See, another thing that you can do... I'm not going to do this... Actually, I'll do it because we're going to end the game. I mean, we're going to end this game after 2 turns. So let me just show you what you can do. If you want to, you can discard a card. Now, it goes to your discard pile, not destroyed. And if you discard a card, then you're able to get 1 gold essence or 2 of any other type of essences. So if I wanted to do like maybe some more of these actions or like this, I could discard this, grab maybe a black so that I can do this death here, and then grab maybe a life essence since I don't have any life essences. So that's what I'm going to do there.
All right, and actually, I was really wanting to play this card. John made me discard my red token. He didn't make me. I could have just allowed
so it was
the attack
good
to go through. So it really was beneficial for you to do that. So I'm actually going to pass until I can next round be able to build up the resources that I need. I'm just going to put that resource token back tile, and then I'm going to take this protection tile this time. This allows me to react to an attack, and all I have to do is, if John attacks me again, I can just tap this to ignore the attack completely. Yep. So I don't have to spend resources with my dancing sword.
Pretty good one. All right, so I'm going to then... So he's out, so I'm going to do my move, which is I'm going to get rid of that to put a gold on there. And then I am going to... That's it, I think. That's all I can do. So that's going to be the end of this. I am going to get rid of this one. And I've got 2 things I really want to do, actually. Part of me wants to do transmutation because I can transmute 3 of any resource into anything that I want to and be able to do it more different things. But I also have enough resources to grab this alchemy. And this is what I would do on my next turn. On my next turn, I would take the gold off here. I would transmute 4 of these any resources to gold to get 4 gold in order to go ahead and buy one of these monuments, which is going to score me victory points and also give me abilities.
That's right. Which is a cool part of this game, that these action tiles are so different, and they can benefit you at different points of the game. I mentioned earlier that getting the resources at the beginning of the game is really helpful because you're really trying to play a lot of cards. Well, once you have the resources, being able to transform them into gold is really helpful.
Yeah.
And so that's a really cool key part of the game is knowing, like John said earlier, when to pass and be able to take those tiles and which ones you need at different points of the game.
So, art and components?
I'm already jumping into the review part of this.
I know. No, it's good.
The art and components. So I really think the art is cool, and it reflects the style of this game really well. The art of the box is really neat, but it really just takes the mage art and just throws it up on the box. But I think it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the art in this game. It's very, very solid, very good. Now the components, I love these. These are nice and thick. They're awesome. These are very nice and thick as well. They're quite fantastic. All these little resources are very nice. They're not just cubes. They're really solid.
Yeah. And the tray to hold them is really cool.
Yeah, the tray is awesome, man, because, those would be everywhere, and you'd have piles. It's so nice. I'm so happy they did that.
It's just a nice touch. You don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that, but what you did have to do is actually put some decent cards. Like, these immediately went into these sleeves, which obviously don't come... Like, fill that, Dean.
Yeah. The cards are too thin. For a game like this, my preference is to have thicker cards because you use these cards constantly. You're not constantly shuffling them, but you are shuffling them a lot. But you're handling rolling
card's
them
not good either
throughout the whole game, right? So I'm with you. I would rather have thicker cards.
For a card-based game, I was very just like, why is everything else so nice and then the cards are so meh? It's a bummer, but I guess stick them in some sleeve. So if you're going to get this game, I would highly recommend going ahead and just purchasing some. I mean, I would.
If you're a sleeve person, yeah.
If you're a sleeve person, but if not, I feel like they're going to get destroyed pretty quickly.
Sure.
Gameplay.
Yeah, so the gameplay is a lot of fun. There's, it's a pretty simple game, I think. There's a lot of iconography on the cards and the tiles that you might have to get used to. It might take you a game to get to the point where you recognize the iconography. Once you get past that, though, the game has a lot of interesting choices. We mentioned the timing with getting these action tiles and trying to build up to be able to get the places of power before the other players do. Knowing when and which of the monument cards to buy. There's a lot of really interesting decisions for a not super difficult and pretty quick game.
I agree. Like I the first time I played this game, and I've heard some not great reviews. The first time I played this game, I thought it's okay. But it's one of those games, the more you play, like even this last round, I'm like, man, this, I mean, half of a game or whatever that we just played, the more you understand the cards, the better this game gets.
Yeah.
For sure. The more the way you can figure out how they work together and stuff. This is a smooth game, man. Thomas Lehmann really did a good job on this game. I mean, you just have those interesting decisions in different paths even to victory. On the victory points, do I want to go heavy this with a lot of gold? Do I want to go up here, figure out some combinations with my cards? It's all about how can I be the most efficient. Obviously, it's a race game and get there faster than my opponent. But then you also have dragons, and you have things where you can like kind of attack each other.
You had me at dragons.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, you can attack each other, and so that's really, really cool. And to me, it's also neat to get 8 cards and say, how can I make these 8 cards work for me? Yeah. I do not like, and I'll say this, I do not like the base rules that say you just get 8 cards and that's what you're stuck with.
Yeah.
It's great for teaching people the game. Great for teaching people the game. And maybe some people like, and there is that like, let me figure out how to make these 8 cards work, even if they really don't work together. Maybe there is some fun in that, but the problem with it is someone can just get a hand of 8 cards that's just great.
Sure.
And the other person doesn't get 8 great cards. And so that's why some of the negative reviews, I think, were from folks that hadn't tried the draft variant. They had just tried this and went, it's way too luck-based. The draft variant, I wish it was the main rules.
Yeah.
And they would have said, here's a way to play it the first time, but the main rules are the variant. Because I don't want people to miss out on a great game because they didn't try the draft variant.
Yeah, if you're going to play this game, that is definitely the way to go. Except maybe the first game just to kind of learn the rules. But the interesting part about the draft is that it changes up your strategy every single game. Like, this isn't a game where you can say, this is the strategy that I'm going to take. Your cards are going to dictate that. And so you really have to think through, okay, do I want to go a heavy dragon strategy where I'm trying to get a bunch of dragons out to attack the other player to get rid of their resource and then get a lot of my points from the tile, from the place of power that's going to give you points for dragons. It's interesting. And the fact that those places of power are double-sided really changes that up too, because one tile that would be beneficial on one side might be completely different on the other for, kind of change your strategy up. So you really have to kind of have a feel for what the other players have in play and then what the tiles are out on the board and what the cards are in your hand.
Totally agree. So final thoughts. Let's give our ratings.
Yeah. So for me, I think this is a really fun game, and I enjoy Thomas Lehmann's racing card games, and this is no exception. I think it's fun. It's a quick game. The iconography can be a little bit of a turnoff, but if you can get past that, if that's not a big deal for you, I definitely think you should check this out. For me, this is a 7.5. It's one that I'm not often going to turn a play of down.
Yeah.
Turn down a play.
Turn a play up, down. Oh, a little tongue down. Okay, let me recover from that. Anyway, So I think it plays really smoothly. I like Race for the Galaxy. I love Roll for the Galaxy. I think that I like this better than Race for the Galaxy.
Yeah,
maybe.
for sure for me.
I really do like Race for the Galaxy. I think the iconography is pretty good. It's not a turnoff for me because I think you have to figure it out. You do have to learn it, but Races is way harder to learn.
Oh, I totally agree.
So if I'm comparing it to something like that, I feel like he has done a lot of games and put a lot of really wonderful parts into this game and made it easy enough and simple enough to where someone can come into the game that hasn't played a lot of games like this and know how to and learn how to play it. It'll take a little time, but it won't take a ton of time. And there's that huge hurdle for Race for the Galaxy. I've tried to teach it to new folks, and they just oftentimes their heads swimming, and they struggle with that. With that being said, I'm going to agree 100% with Dean on this. I almost want to give this an 8, and I could absolutely see this going up, but I'm going to give it an extremely solid 7.5 out of 10. I won't turn down a game very often either, but I could see this one creeping up for sure.
Yeah, I think for me it would creep up if expansions come into play. I think there's a lot of variability just in the box. So I'm not saying this is a game that has to have expansions, but it seems like you could add some more places, you could add some more tiles, add more cards, really simple additions to the game that would just enhance the variability, which I could definitely see this moving up as well. Yeah. All right, well, that's how we feel about the game. We both really, really enjoy it. Both gave it 7.5 apiece. John, why don't you tell people how they can get in touch with us?
All right, we are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook at MeepleTown Games. Also, if you are enjoying our videos, we would love for you to join our community by subscribing to this channel and Board Game Geek Guild 3407.
That is it, and thanks for watching the video, and thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at MeepleTown Games, and connect with us on the MeepleTown Guild number 3407 at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.